In a picturesque village nestled between rolling hills and lush meadows, there lived an elderly farmer named Thomas. He was known throughout the village for his wisdom and his ability to face life's challenges with an unwavering optimism. Despite the unpredictable weather, the occasional crop failure, and the everyday struggles, Thomas always wore a warm smile on his weathered face. One day, a traveler passing through the village stopped by Thomas' farm, intrigued by the stories he had heard about the wise farmer. The traveler was greeted by Thomas, who welcomed him with a hearty handshake and a friendly grin. "I've heard you possess a unique outlook on life," the traveler began. "They say you know how to remain positive no matter the circumstances." Thomas nodded thoughtfully and invited the traveler to sit with him under the shade of a sprawling oak tree. "Indeed, my friend," he replied. "Allow me to share my secret with you." He led the traveler to a small, serene pond that shimmered like a mirror beneath the midday sun. Beside the pond was an old wooden table with a basin of water resting upon it. Thomas reached into a pouch hanging from his belt and produced a handful of coarse salt. "Every day," Thomas explained, "I take a handful of salt and sprinkle it into this basin of water." He demonstrated by tossing the salt into the water, watching as it created ripples that danced across the pond's surface. Curiosity piqued, the traveler asked, "But what does this ritual signify?" Thomas smiled kindly. "You see, my friend, life is like this basin of water. Sometimes it can become bitter and challenging, just like the salt. But it's up to us to decide how we let those challenges affect us." With that, Thomas dipped his fingers into the basin and lifted a small amount of water to his lips. He took a sip and then turned to the traveler. "No matter how bitter my day might have been, I choose not to let it spoil the world around me. I taste the water, and I remind myself that the bitterness is only temporary." The traveler's eyes widened as the profound meaning of Thomas' words sank in. He realized that the old farmer was teaching him a powerful lesson in perspective and resilience. In that moment, the traveler understood that it wasn't the circumstances themselves that determined one's happiness, but rather the way they chose to perceive and respond to those circumstances. With a newfound sense of clarity, the traveler thanked Thomas for his wisdom and continued on his journey, carrying the valuable life lesson with him. And as he traveled through different lands, he shared Thomas' story with others, spreading the message of optimism and the importance of maintaining a positive perspective, even in the face of life's challenges.